Let's really look at your intuitive language, your purpose, your abundance, and tap into it because your relationship with your spirit guides, your relationship with your intuition and your purpose, your relationship with your friends and family, and everything else is going to look, sound, feel, and be different than other people. Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeil. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. Hey, you spiritual and ambitious soul. Welcome to this podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about trusting your intuitive messages and stop second guessing them. I'm going to be talking about why we tend to do this as well. So when students come to me, they're like, am I intuitive? And how do I trust the messages that I'm getting? What is this all about? So let's talk about this phrase. You might have heard it before. Maybe you haven't. Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, feeling like an imposter and that you don't have these abilities. This is something that runs through us all. And I feel that a lot of the time we're taught this by family and society in different ways, unintentionally, most of the time, because we're looking for comparison. We are comparing ourselves to others. And a lot of times we see people who are really in the flow of their intuition, loving their life purpose, being in abundance, and we think, well, I can't get there, or that comes so easy to them. There's no way I can do that. Now, this comes when we're growing up in different ways and still being into adulthood, where we will see people and think they're better. They're better than us. They look better than us. They sound better than us. When in fact, we are unique. You are unique. And what I'm here to tell you is to really claim your uniqueness. There's something within us all where we try to see ourselves in others. And while there's a beautiful lesson there where we are all connected and we are all one, the ego likes to play the game of, well, my stuff isn't as good as your stuff. With that, let's really look at your intuitive language, your purpose, your abundance, and tap into it because your relationship with your spirit guides, your relationship with your intuition and your purpose, your relationship with your friends and family and everything else is going to look, sound, feel, and be different than other people. So let's just accept the fact that your stuff is going to look different than other people's stuff. And that's okay. And it's beautiful and it's unique. You add a different flavor to the world, a different energetic imprint to the world. And that is what is needed. You were born with it. So let's drop that comparison and understand you're right. It's not going to look like somebody else's, but that doesn't mean you're less than. You are you. And that is enough. So that's the first thing I want to say about trusting your messages. Stop comparing. Learn your intuitive language. And if you haven't already, you can listen to episode 1 of this podcast to help you understand your intuitive language. And you can go to messengerspirit.com/quiz to help you understand your primary intuitive language. Number 2, if you are not actively doing exercises for your intuition, then guess what? You're never going to trust your messages because it's going to be kind of random here and there and everywhere. And you're not going to understand if it was intuitive or not. So, what I'd like for you to do is make a consistent practice to talk to your spirit guides and do this about 5 to 15 minutes each day. Now, if you haven't taken any intuitive training classes, exercises, I encourage you to do that. Now, I'm sure you know that I have classes and you can find them at messengerspirit.com, but I'm just talking in general. Like, are you making a commitment? Are you making an energetic investment in your intuition? So that means you're making it a priority. If you don't make your intuition a priority to grow that skill set, to grow that ability, then you're never going to be able to trust your messages because you don't know enough. You haven't had enough experience to know if it was intuition or not. So, one of the things that's really easy I'd like for you to start doing is one, talk to your spirit guides out loud. You can talk to them out loud like you're hearing my voice, or you can do this with the intention of them hearing your thoughts and sending it out to the universe. And then ask them questions. Ask them, hey, I would love to know XYZ. Hey, I would love to know what my next opportunity is. I would love to have your help and insight on this decision I need to make. Can I receive a clear gut feeling? Or can I hear a yes or no? Can I see a yes or no? Can I just know and take action? So, referencing back to the 4 intuitive languages, learning how you receive your messages coming in from your spirit guide team is going to be essential. So, consistency, but also making sure that you're doing intuitive exercises and learning. 3, journal. So, journaling, when you get your intuitive messages, write them down. If you're someone that is like, I don't have time for that, Whitney, like, what are you even talking about? Then do your voice app on your phone. I know you got a phone with a voice app somewhere. When you get your intuitive messages, you could talk to yourself on that app. That way you have a record of it and that you can even transcribe it if you want to. But write them down and document them. That way, when you move forward in your days and your weeks and your months ahead, you can always reference back to that intuitive message and you will get validation. Now, validation is really important so that you start to understand that what you're getting is truly real. And so when I work with students inside of 4 intuitive languages or Intuition Abundance Academy, one of the things that I talk about is having a partner and doing an exercise. Inside of Intuition Abundance Academy, we call it an intuitive play day where we get together live in this environment and we partner everybody up. So what this looks like is you would have a partner and you can clear your mind and then start giving whatever's coming through to your partner, and your partner can validate it. So, while in effect, this is actually a mediumship exercise 101, it's simply for validation. But you don't need a partner for this. You can actually do this yourself through writing or speaking your intuitive messages, and then you can understand it's real. Now, one of the things that my students say to me is, Whitney, it's way harder to get intuitive messages for myself than it is for somebody else. And that's because we're not trusting ourselves. That's because it is so easy to receive intuitive messages and we think it needs to be hard. And when it's so easy, we go, I must have made that up. No, I was just thinking that. So understand, number 4, it's easy. It's simply accepting the fact that intuition is a natural ability that you were born with. And when you were born with this natural ability, you also have an energetic imprint, the way that you receive and take in information. And Spirit is sending you their messages this way. If we can accept that receiving messages from Spirit can feel natural, then this is an alignment. This is receptivity. This is where you can start receiving your messages even more clearly because you're receiving. If we can shift into that energy of receiving, not only do we receive more intuitive messages, but we receive more abundance in the universe too. When we were born, we were able to look at someone and kind of get the vibe. You still probably are able to do that too, right? So understanding that you've got all of these sensitivity receptors and that it's processing energy and letting you know what is out there, what is coming into your life, and what you are meant to receive. And sometimes we just second guess ourselves. Maybe you felt like you weren't confident at some point in your life, or someone made fun of you. Maybe you felt like, you know what, I just had a goal and I failed. I can never do this. Perhaps you have negative people in your life, or you did at some point. That is their story. That is not yours. And just because you had a goal and you didn't work out does not mean that it was a failure. It means that Spirit had another plan for you, and that Spirit still has a different plan for you. And you are good enough. So if we can allow ourselves to just receive and to be in the flow, this is amazing when your intuition really hits home with you. So let me ask you this. Are you the type of person that is constantly on the go? And maybe that question you're thinking has to do with your physical body. I've got all these errands, I've got all these things, I've got to pick the kids up, or I have to talk to this client, or I have to do XYZ for my family. Now, it doesn't have to be physical. It can also be mental. Maybe you're literally doing nothing with your body, but you're thinking all the time. Think, a new idea for my business. How can I live my life purpose? Or perhaps you're thinking about somebody else or worrying about something. And so even though your body is just sitting there, you're thinking. If any of those two are true, then you're not making time to receive. You're not creating space to receive. We are taught that in order to be valuable or to be confident, that we have to be in action and being productive and doing something. However, that is not reality, my friend. It's not. You will burn out. And when you get to burnout, you are not helpful for anybody. You're not helpful for yourself. You're not helpful for others. You're just not helpful, period. Because you don't have any other energy to give. So the first thing that is needed is for you to take care of yourself. You put the oxygen mask on yourself in a plane before you help others. So you have to feed yourself, give to yourself, allow yourself to be nurtured, and nurture yourself before you're truly able to live your purpose in fullness. When you are allowing and taking an entire day, days, weeks, months, whatever it is for you, off, when you're taking that time off, you are in the energy of receiving and allowing. You are surrendering to the divine. You know that you don't have to be in action all the time. I talk about manifesting and helicopter manifestors, just like helicopter parents, where it's like, I have to be doing something all the time in order for this to work. And that's not how it is. It's just like anything that you want to see grow. If you want to have plants and you want them to thrive, yes, they need water. But if you water them too much, guess what? They are going to die. If you don't water them at all, they will also die. With that, I think that it's really important to have balance in your life. When you breathe, if you were to breathe in and never breathe out, what would happen? You would die. If you were to breathe out and never breathe in, what would happen? You would die. Breathing in and breathing out. Receiving in and giving out energy. That's what I want you to think about. My homework for you today is to take these steps and apply them to your life and let it be easy. If it's really hard and you're making it hard, then it's really in resistance and it's harder to receive. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review and a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerofspirit.com, and you can take the 4 Intuitive Languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. If you want to continue the conversation, join my free Facebook group at messengerofspirit.com/group. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.